So I'm here today with Anna Clyne. Super delighted to meet you in person for the very first time and to be able to welcome you to the CBSO as our composer in residence for 26-27.
Thank you. It's great to meet you too, and I'm really excited for our year together.
Great, brilliant. So we've got quite a lot coming up. We're starting, the very first piece we do with you is Restless Oceans, which will be fantastic. And we've got the big commission with Lawrence Power, the viola concerto. And we'll do your massive palette piece with our residency conceptual side by side. So much to look forward to. What does it mean for you to be a composer in residence with an orchestra like us?
It's a great opportunity to get to know Kazuki and the musicians, and it was really special too when I'm writing a new piece for the orchestra to really imagine the personalities within the musicians of the orchestra, but also such a commitment to contemporary music and also to outreach within the community. So I'm looking forward to both the music, the existing pieces, the new music, and also to meet more in the wider community.
Fantastic. And Kazuki, have you met and worked with him before, or is this going to be a new adventure?
Well, we met on Zoom a couple of years ago, but we haven't met in person yet, so I'm really looking forward to meeting in person.
Yeah. He's a great champion of your music, and I think it'll be a fantastic rapport that we will have together. Fantastic. So the big commission of the year is Resonant Forms, the viola concerto. Could you just tell us a little bit about that and how it's emerged?
Yeah, so it's for Lawrence Power. So that was my initial point of inspiration, getting to know his recordings. And we met on Zoom, and he showed me things he loves to play, some extended techniques. I'm a cellist, but not a violist, so it was really, really helpful. And it's inspired by the sculptures of the British sculptor Barbara Hepworth, in particular some pieces from St Ives, where she lived at the end of her life, but also a piece at the Birmingham Museum of Art and the Adelaide Festival Centre and the Tate. So it's in 5 movements, and it explores her creative process from chiselling the stone to sculpting it, and the final movement is the Resonant Forms. But the idea being that the viola is kind of like her hand carving the music and sort of taking the audience on a journey.
Wow, that sounds like how did you come up with that idea?
Well, both Lawrence and I love the artwork of Barbara Hepworth, and her sculptures seem very musical. They often have threads that bind them, almost like resonant strings, and also the connection to the ocean. So I know I wanted to explore those themes. And also she talks about when she's making a sculpture, the hammering of it is the musicality of that sound lets her know how she's interacting with her material. So she was very musical in her process, even though it was sculpture was her medium.
So what's it like when you've written this piece, you've imagined it, you've put it down on paper, and then you come to hear it for the very first time live? What is that feeling like?
It's really exciting. I mean, it's my first time being together with the CBSO and Kazuki and Lawrence, so it's exciting to see all those elements coming together. And also to know that there's some sort of playfulness in the process. We can make edits as we're sort of sculpting the piece, as it were. So yeah, I'm very.
Do you often
excited.
do that? Do you go after the first performance or during the working process? You make changes to the music?
I do generally sort of smaller details like different dynamics or phrasings, but I put a lot of detail into the score, so hopefully it will come to life quite organically.
Fantastic. And we're also going to do Palette, which is another kind of artistically inspired piece. I'm very excited about this because we're doing it as part of our CBSO orchestral residency with lots of young musicians sitting side by side with our CBSO musicians. Tell us a little bit about Palette and how it works with the enhanced orchestra and the electronics.
Yeah, so Palette is a concerto for augmented orchestra. So a bit about the piece first and then the technology side of it. But it's an exploration of the symbiosis between music and art. And there are 7 movements, and the title of each movement collectively spells palette. So we have plum, amber, lava, ebony, teal, tangerine, and finally emerald. And as part of the creative process, I created a large-scale painting for each of those movements, exploring light and form and texture and how that connects between what we see and what we hear. And then the other layer of it is it features the augmented orchestra, which is a collaboration with Jodie Elf, who's a wonderful sound designer, also my husband, so it's very much a family project. But it basically expands the sound world of the orchestra with live, real-time electronic processing. So nothing is pre-recorded or sampled, it's all happening live and responding to the conductor, the tempi, the musicians, and also the space. So some examples of the processes are taking the double basses and pitch shifting them down an octave so you get those low tones that you're more likely to hear in pop or hip hop and so forth, or taking a triangle and letting it suspend beyond its natural decay, or taking a clarinet and running it through a distortion pedal so it sounds more like an electric guitar. So as a composer, it's really exciting to have access to this whole new sound world and this whole palette of sounds to play with.
So that all happens live in the moment. So it's different every performance, is it?
Exactly, and one of the goals with the augmented orchestra is that it be really an organic extension of the orchestra. So if there's no click track, so if a phrase is taken a little faster or a little slower, it reacts in exactly the same way because it's all happening live.
Is that a lot of technology involved in that?
It is. I leave that to Jody. He's the mastermind behind the actual programming. So he's created a custom software which is downloaded by the orchestra playing the piece, and with quite a simple setup of 8 microphones feeding into the laptop to do the live processing.
And where does the player sit doing that? Are they within the orchestra or?
Yeah, actually the performance with CBSO will be one of the first times that we have a musician within the orchestra. Historically with the piece, Jody has been out at the sound desk and following the score and triggering the different cues. But the next stage of AO, we call it AO for short, is actually to have a musician in the orchestra play that with a MIDI keyboard. It opens and closes microphones and starts and stops processes just according to a chromatic scale on the keyboard.
Oh, I can't wait. That's so exciting.
Very exciting.
And Jess Gillam is also an artist in residence for us this year, so that's a very happy coincidence, one of many actually in this relationship, that she, you wrote Glasslands for her, is that right?
I did, yes. Similar to Lawrence, it was very collaborative, so we also met on Zoom. I live in the Hudson Valley in upstate New York and Jess here in the UK. So we met several times on Zoom and she showed me all kinds of wild extended techniques, like really the extremes of the register, multiphonics, and the piece Glasslands, it's in 3 movements and it finds its inspiration in Irish folklore and specifically the banshee who wails in the night, signifying the ominous presence that's to come. The piece opens with this screeching sort of saxophone sound and then it takes you onto these different sort of journeys through the 3 movements. But it was a real joy to write it for Jess, and similar to Lawrence's piece, I listened to a lot of her recordings, and one of the things I love about Jess's musicianship is she plays so many different styles of music. So I was really able to lean into some more jazzy moments, some more sort of contemporary, some more sort of earthy, and she really brings the piece to life with 100% energy. So
it must be brilliant to be able to work with somebody at that level who can help you shape your creativity as well as, challenge you.
Absolutely, it's definitely a two-way process. In fact, it's a sort of big ecosystem because you have the composer, the performer, conductor, the orchestra, and of course the audience. We're all part of this experience. So it takes a village, as they say.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about Birmingham audiences?
I'm really excited. I mean, the last time I was in Birmingham was back in the 90s. One of my closest friends moved there and I loved the art scene there. I remember we used to go to some art galleries, so I'm looking forward to getting to know the city again, going to the Birmingham Museum of Art.
Yes.
Yeah, to see it in person, and some of the school activities that you have too. I'm really excited to meet with the students.
Yes.
And also the side-by-side orchestra for Palette, and of course the orchestra. So
great. So going on to education, do you work now currently quite a lot in education?
Well, through residencies I have the opportunity to teach, and historically have set up some programmes. So for example with the Scottish Chamber Orchestra, their New Stories programme, which is a programme that nurtures young emerging women composers. So that's been an important part of my practice as a women composer, to try and create opportunities for young emerging composers.
So we'll have a relationship with the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire when you're with us, which is fantastic, but also the CBSO Shireland Academy School, which is very close to our hearts, and probably some kind of young 11, 12-year-old emerging musicians. How would you approach somebody at that kind of age to inspire them to be a composer or write music?
I think to really let them be free to run with their imagination and to let them express themselves in different ways. So at the age of 11, perhaps drawing is more comfortable for them, or dancing, so maybe to encourage different ways of expressing themselves, and then looking at how you can translate some of those elements into music, but having a sort of playful approach to composing, I think at that age can be good, and then giving them some of the tools to help them translate.
What are those tools? What kind of tools do you give them?
I think notation, but some people don't have classical notation or standard notation at that age, so you could do graphic scores, for example, which can be really fun to play with different colours, different gestures, and then giving them to their friends to play and see how they interpret it. So it doesn't always have to be notes on the page.
Do you use improvisation in that kind of context?
You can do,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sometimes a graphic score is an opportunity to do that, so they can have a sort of roadmap for a piece, but freely use their instruments. And I think one of the great things about music is its real sense of community, and it brings us together. So it's great to nurture that as well.
It's great, I think, that GCSE music now is much more focused on your own individual musical voice, and you know, when I did it, we certainly wasn't any opportunity really to compose or create. It was very much learning the idiom, but now it's much more practical and much more interesting.
Yeah, I think it's when it's more sort of involved and sort of more tangible, it's more rewarding for everyone, and building people's confidence and how they interact with other people. I think there are skills beyond just the music itself that it really helps to encourage in a new generation of music makers. So.
Yes. And just to finish, could you say a little bit about what collaboration means to you? I know you've mentioned Jess and Lawrence, and the orchestra. Obviously, the heart of this partnership is collaboration. It's what do we bring to you, what do you bring to us, and how are we bigger than the sum of our parts? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is bringing our strengths together to make something that's bigger than ourselves individually. And you already have such a rich legacy of new music, of standard repertoire, and of reaching out to new audiences. But perhaps reaching new audiences is part of the collaboration that we can join forces on. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for the orchestra to meet you in person and for all our audiences to get to know you over this coming year.
Thank you. I'm excited for the year ahead.
Brilliant, thank you.